जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यमुनातीरवनचारी। यमुनातीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे जय राधा कालाचंजी राधा कालाचंजी राधे, जय राधा गोविंद राधे, जय जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव जय जय सुभद्रा। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So today we will be reciting, or rather studying the Canto 10, Chapter 7, I think the verses 1 to 9. And we will eventually delve and recite verse 9. Before that, I guess we read through all the translations. Okay. So.
King Parikshit said, My Lord Shukadeva Goswami, all the various activities exhibited by the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are certainly pleasing to the ear and to the mind. Simply by one's hearing of these activities, the dirty things in one's mind immediately vanish. Generally, we are reluctant to hear about the activities of the Lord, but Krishna's childhood activities are so attractive that they are automatically pleasing to the mind and ear. Thus, one's attachment for hearing about material things, which is the root cause of material existence, vanishes, and one gradually develops devotional service to the Supreme Lord, attachment from Him, and friendship with devotees who give us the contribution of Krishna consciousness. If you think it fit, kindly speak about those activities of the Lord.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared on this planet imitating a human child and performing wonderful activities like killing Putana.
Text 4. Shukadeva Goswami said, when Mother Yashoda's baby was slanting his body to attempt to rise and turn around, this attempt was observed by a Vedic ceremony. In such a ceremony called Utthana, which is performed when a child is due to leave the house for the first time, the child is properly bathed. Just after Krishna turned 3 months old, Mother Yashoda celebrates this ceremony with other women of the neighborhood. On that day, there was a conjunction of the moon with the constellation Rohini. As the Brahmanas joined by chanting Vedic hymns and professional musicians also took part, this great ceremony was observed by Mother Yashoda.
After completing the bathing ceremony for the child, Mother Yashoda received the Brahmanas by worshipping them with proper respect and giving them ample food grains and other eatables, clothing, desirable cows and garlands. The Brahmanas properly chanted Vedic hymns to observe the auspicious ceremony, and when they finished and Mother Yashoda saw the child felt sleepy, she lay down on the bed with the child until he was peacefully asleep.
The liberal Mother Yashoda, absorbed in celebrating the Uttana ceremony, was busy receiving guests, worshipping them with all respect, and offering them clothing, cows, garlands, and grains. Thus, she could not hear the child crying for his mother. At that time, the child Krishna, demanding to drink the milk of his mother's breast, angrily threw his legs upward.
Lord Sri Krishna was lying down underneath the handcart in one corner of the courtyard, and although his little legs were as soft as leaves, When he struck the cart with his legs, it turned over violently and collapsed. The wheels separated from the axle. The hubs and spokes fell apart, and the pole of the handcart broke. On the cart there were many little utensils made of various metals, and all of them scattered hither and thither.
When Mother Yashoda and other ladies who had assembled for the Uttana festival and all of the men headed by Nanda Maharaj saw the wonderful situation, they began to wonder how the handcart had collapsed by itself. They began to wander here and there, trying to find the cause, but were unable to do so. The assembled cowhead men and ladies began to contemplate how this has happened.
I'll do the Uchur avasitita matin Gopan gopischa balaka Rudatatena padena Kshiptam etanna samshayah Uchur avyasasita matin Gopan gopischa balakah Rudatatnena padena Shiptam etanna samshayah Uchur avyasita matin Gopan gopischa balakah Rudatani tena Shiptam etana samshayah Uchur avyavasita matin Gopan gopischa balakah Rudatanena padena Shiptam etam na samshayah Uchur avyavasita matin Gopal gopesha balakah Rudatatena padena Shiptam etana samshayah. Translation. The assembled cowherd men and ladies began to contemplate how this thing had happened. Is this the work of some demon or some evil planet? They asked. At that time, the small children present asserted that the cart had been kicked apart by the baby Krishna. As soon as the crying baby had kicked the cart's wheel, the cart had collapsed. There was no doubt about it. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We have heard of people being haunted by ghosts. Having no gross material body, a ghost seeks shelter of a gross body to stay in and haunt. The Shakatasura was a ghost who had taken shelter of the handcart and was looking for an opportunity to do mischief to Krishna. When Krishna kicked the cart with his small and very delicate legs, the ghost was immediately pushed down to earth and his shelter dismantled, as already described. This was possible for Krishna because he had full potency as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Angani yasya sakalendriya vritti manti Pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti Ananda chinmaya sadajvala vigrahasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Krishna's body is Satchidananda Vigraha or Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Vigraha. That is, any of the parts of his Ananda Chinmaya body can act for any other part. Such are the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord does not acquire these potencies, he already has them. Thus, Krishna kicked his little legs and his whole purpose was fulfilled. Also, when the handcart broke, an ordinary child could have been injured in many ways, but because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he enjoyed the dismantling of the cart and nothing injured him. Eventually, everything done by him is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, full transcendental bliss. Thus, Krishna factually enjoyed. The nearby children saw that actually Krishna had kicked the wheel of the cart, and that is how the accident happened. By the arrangement of Yogamaya, all the gopis and gopas thought that the accident had taken place because of some bad planet or ghost. But in fact, everything was done by Krishna and enjoyed by him. Those who enjoy the activities of Krishna are also on the platform of Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. They are liberated from the material platform. When one develops the practice of hearing Krishna Katha, he is certainly transcendental to material existence. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Sa Gunan Samatitayan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Unless one is on the spiritual platform, one cannot enjoy the transcendental activities of Krishna. Or in other words, whoever engages in hearing the transcendental activities of Krishna is not on the material platform, but on the transcendental spiritual platform. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. So, we will be discussing a few aspects. This is a wonderful, as we all know, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, especially the pastimes of the Lord as baby Krishna are some of the most endearing and most loving pastimes. I would like to share some thoughts based on this passage of the Bhagavatam, I would say in three aspects. First, I wanted to just quickly share about how Prabhupada is explaining the platform of spiritual elevation compared to material elevation based on how Katha, to the extent we experience the rasa, the bhava in the Katha, to that extent we are spiritually elevated. So two things. One, I wanted to mention a little bit about the aspect of elevation on a spiritual platform. How do we assess how we are doing on that ladder, spiritual ladder, in terms of the progress, in terms of the bhava, the rasa. And then a little bit about how childhood pastimes of Krishna are different from every other pastime that the Lord performs. And then definitely I would like to share a few of some sweet pastimes of the Lord, including the Shakatasur pastime. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport explains that one who has developed the practice of hearing Krishna Katha, he is already on the spiritual platform. So obviously we should feel very grateful to Srila Prabhupada and our gurus and all our well-wishers and mentors and counselors who have so kindly helped us reach this platform where we have developed that desire, at least to start with, to hear Krishna Katha on a regular basis. So that is done, that is already there. Prabhupada also says that not just developing the practice of hearing Krishna Katha, it should be also, we should enjoy. He uses one cannot enjoy transcendental activities unless one is on the spiritual platform. So there is a difference in just hearing and enjoying the pastimes, right? So that's the aspect of, to the extent we feel the rasa, the relish in the pastimes of the Lord, to that extent we should understand that we are progressing on the spiritual path. And we, as we all know, the spiritual path, we start as sadhana bhakti, but that is just to get our bearings right. That is just to force ourselves even though there is no taste initially, there is no desire, there is no enthusiasm, we still have to do our minimum rounds, our 4 regulations, and whatever we have been told. But the real benefit or the real taste comes when the sadhaka enters the next stages of bhakti, which is, of course, bhava bhakti and eventually prema bhakti. So, to the extent we are in a certain stage, to that extent the pastimes of the Lord, they reciprocate within our hearts. If you are at the sadhana bhakti level, after some time the pastimes start feeling repetitive. After some time the pastimes feel, you don't get that same relish. But those who are on the bhava bhakti level, every time we hear any particular pastime, the Lord is actually performing that pastimes in our hearts. And we can feel that. And there are so many examples of it, right? We hear the story of King Kula Shekhara, where he was hearing the recitation of the Ramayana, and in that the Vakta, the Vyasji was saying that eventually Ravana came and he kidnapped Sita. And as soon as he heard it, he felt so angry. How can Ravan do that? He immediately called for his army and said, let's go and attack. I will not allow this to happen. And then his ministers had to pacify him. Wait. This is actually just a pastime happening. But for him, because he was in that bhava bhakti level, the pastime was actually happening in his heart. And he could not just control his emotions. That actually is the fruit of the process of bhakti, isn't it? The distinction between any other path of attaining God, which is jnana bhakti, jnana marga, or whatever, sadhana or dhyana marga, is the heart, the emotions. The seat of our emotions is the heart. And how much of the heart has softened to be able to receive this rasa is the indication of our spiritual progress. Of course, sometimes the power of the Vakta itself gives us that qualification. We have heard so many of our senior Maharajas and so many sincere speakers, when they speak, it does give us that same relish. Even though we may not be at that level of Bhava Bhakti, it does induce certain emotions in our hearts. So that is the spiritual platform. I just wanted to quickly dwell on that as to what Prabhupada is trying to explain, that we need to enjoy those pastimes. That bhava should arouse in our hearts as we hear these pastimes. Then it actually creates the impact on our consciousness that bhakti is supposed to produce. And that is the major difference between Jnana Marga and other things that we just spoke. And how do we assess that we are actually progressing? Of course, it takes a while, as we all know. Initially, it just starts with sadhana, with sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, and then anartha nivritti, which takes a long time. Because we don't know. I mean, one thing is for sure, that because we are still here, and if we calculate materially, Lord Brahma, his life is already like 51st year. He's just at the beginning of his first 51st year, around noon time, which means there are all and in one Brahma's life, the Lord actually brings a lot of souls, through Karnodakshay Vishnu, through Shirodakshay Vishnu, eventually releasing into each universe. So we all have been in this universe for millions and millions of lives, for sure. Because this is the 51st year of Lord Brahma and we are still here in this universe. So the point is that despite the various attempts, we are still not able to go back. And that is because of the anartha nivritti, the conditioning that is already there. And that's where we have to assess very honest assessment of our own progress. How much are we really relishing our hearing, our chanting? Of course, for us, like Prabhupada said, 99% of spiritual progress happens through your chanting. Because end of the day, we have to gain that capacity. Mercy is flowing. It is always there. But all of us carry a particular pot, which has a certain size, a shape and capacity. How much mercy can we accumulate? And that is in other ways to look at it is how much is our heart soft? How much has it melted for the emotions to flow? With time, with experiences of the material nature, it gets hardened. It gets hardened. So it's very difficult for the emotions to flow. That's why we see that those who are at the perfection level, the tears will flow from the eyes. They'll have ecstasy. They will fall unconscious. That is when the seat of emotions, the heart is fully softened through the chanting of the holy name, especially in Kali Yuga. That's why chanting is considered to be like, churning. We know the churning of the pot. When you keep churning the butter, eventually the soft thing comes up and the impurities subside. So when we chant the holy names, that's what is happening. Initially it is hard. Even to move the pot is hard. But if we keep trying, it starts to ease. And then eventually the heart begins to soften. The seat of emotions becomes activated. The bhava starts to progress. And how do we know that we are developing that taste in chanting? Do we feel connected when we chant the holy names of the Lord? Do we feel helpless? Do we feel dependent on the Lord when we chant the holy names of the Lord? Do we feel secure that this is the only time of the day when I feel really very happy and blissful when I'm chanting, when I'm taking the holy name? I feel sheltered in the holy names of the Lord. Do I feel like doing more? Or do I feel like, oh, this is whoosh, I finished my 16th round, like we typically would say, I just finished my 16th round and I feel as if a huge burden has come off. Or do I feel like chanting more? Do I feel like we have heard, some of the advanced devotees say, I wish I had more mounts so I could continue to chant and relish the holy names. I wish I had more time. By the way, not having time is just it's a Maya's trick. The problem is not the time, the problem is the will. The problem is the capacity of our spiritual and mental health. There's no problem with time. Krishna can give us all the time we want to chant as much as we want, but it's the how much rasa we have developed so that we can chant more. That is the way to understand the progress. Same with katha. Whether we feel that I should hear more, this was so awesome, I want to hear more and more pastimes. Are there any other places where I can hear more of Krishna's pastimes? Or even if we hear the same pastimes, can I relish it from a different aspect? Can I relish it from a different rasa, from a different bhav? And how much do I contemplate on it? How much do I just get lost my consciousness in those pastimes, even when I'm not hearing them? When I'm doing some other daily chores, can I do those come naturally to me? Am I remembering Krishna? Am I remembering Krishna's pastimes? Anything we see, am I able to relate it to Krishna's pastimes? That is the level to understand if we are progressing beyond sadhana bhakti, going closer to bhava bhakti level. And that is, of course, is possible through sincere chanting and avoiding all the other like do's and don'ts. I don't have to go to that. We all know that. So that's one thing I wanted to share about katha. How do we prepare ourselves and how do we assess that we are ready for such divine pastimes of the Lord? The second aspect I wanted to share was how Krishna's childhood pastimes are different from all the other pastimes that he performed. In fact, the form of the Lord as Lord Jagannath appeared because he started hearing his Braja pastimes, right? He just melted. He himself could not handle the beauty of the Lord's his own pastimes. So, why is there so much of greatness or sweetness in the Lord's pastimes, especially in Braja? We all know that Krishna's pastimes, especially in the Bhagavatam, has been at the beginning itself. Prabhupada has given the categorization that it is Vraja Leela, Mathura Leela, and then Dwarka Leela. But the most relish happens in the Vraja Leela pastimes, is it not? When he's especially as a young baby and performs. So why is it that his childhood pastimes? So it is said that Prabhav, the influence always attracts. When Krishna performs some very super divine pastimes, it is obviously very attractive to the heart because it is supernatural, superhuman. Nobody can perform those. All the pastimes many of the pastimes. But there are pastimes which he performs where it does not exhibit any divine qualities. But on the contrary, he exhibits qualities which are even bewildering, or he exhibits such human nature that it is even bewildering to all the demigods. That is he really the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Those are the kind of pastimes which are the most nectarian. And it's very easy to relate, right? If you think about it, if some great person, somebody, material example, let's say the president of a country or a mayor of a city, he comes to your house and starts doing very mundane chores for you, saying, I want to help you, and starts doing all these. It's a very different feeling. Your heart will melt, or some very senior devotee comes and starts pressing your legs, saying, I want to serve you, or just do some very menial service for you. You'll feel very moved, right? Because that person is leaving his position and doing something very ordinary. That is what Krishna is doing, in Braja. We see that he's the owner, he's the source of everything. All the energies are subservient to him. His one eyebrow can do, just his thinking creates this whole material and spiritual worlds especially. And here he's accepting the position of a very helpless little child, and he does activities which inundates the hearts of the Brajavasis with love. For a little piece of butter, he becomes subservient to the orders of the gopis. When the gopis says, please dance, then I'll give you a laddu, and he will dance. So that is the level of, that's why pastimes are so nectarian. Are you getting the difference? Even between the pastimes which he shows divine things against pastimes which he just exhibits very ordinary, to the extent that even Brahmaji is bewildered that is he really the Supreme Lord who has taken his form like that. So that is why his pastimes as a child are the most relishable. Now speaking about this Shakatasura pastime, the Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami elaborates this pastime a little more, where he explains that when Krishna, of course, we can imagine the beauty of Krishna to the extent of our imagination, or maybe to the extent of sometimes even we imagine baby Krishna as the little Krishna cartoon, that's basically not imagination, that's memory. But the Shastras explain the beauty of the Lord, and what can we explain and what can we imagine the infinite beauty of the Lord even as a baby. But anyway, we can attempt based on our own little power of imagination how Krishna as a baby is so beautiful. He's like curly hair, red lips, beautifully shaped eyes, beautifully shaped lips, very chubby cheeks, very chubby body. Krishna was very chubby as a baby, and he's performing these pastimes where he's just like an ordinary child. He is just sleeping like what babies do. They just all the time they'll sleep. When they feel hungry, they'll open their eyes, or they just close their eyes and cry, and the mother feeds them. So Krishna is performing these pastimes, and just so many of the Brajavasis were always wanting to come and see him. But Mother Yashoda was so protective. She felt that we don't want anybody's evil. And of course, before this pastime, the pastime of Putna had happened. So she was even more protective. She would not let anybody. We hear the story of how she didn't even allow Lord Shiva, who came as a mendicant. And he said, I want darshan of this baby form of the Lord. And she said, no, I cannot let anybody in now, anymore. So Shakatasur pastime happened when the baby Krishna performing these type of pastimes is just 3 months old. And being 3 months old, he just for the first time he just turned. When the babies, most of us know, they are always on the back. At some time they just turn, and then eventually they will total turn, and then they'll slide, then they will crawl, then they will walk, they will talk. Like there are so many different phases when the babies start doing things for the first time, and it's a great joy for the parents to see that happening. And one day Krishna just turned as a baby. Imagine when all the energies, everything is moving by his will, that same personality is taking efforts to just turn, as a baby. And when he does that, one of the maids, they see it, and they ran to Mother Yashoda and said, Krishna turned, the baby turned for the first time. And immediately Mother Yashoda felt we should do a festival, because that's what the spiritual world is. Every word is a dance, every word is a song, every step is a dance, every day is a festival. So Mother Yashoda said, because Krishna was born in the constellation of Rohini, she said, as soon as the same constellation appears, we'll perform this ceremony. So when the moon takes 28, 29 days to move through the 360 degrees constellations. And when the Rohini Nakshatra came again, Mother Yashoda created a big ceremony out of it. She invited all the Brajavasis, and they were all eager because they were not getting opportunities to see baby Krishna. So they were all eager to find this opportunity to enter the house and look at baby Krishna. So they all came, and Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they invited a lot of Brahmins to chant various hymns to in the glory of the Lord for auspiciousness. And Jiva Goswami explains in the Gopal Champu that this went on. Actually, there are descriptions of how on that day Mother Yashoda very beautifully created a nice bed with satin cloth and a soft pillow which was lightly perfumed for the pleasure of the baby. And then they created a cradle and lie down, and they gave bath to the baby, and they decorated him with yellow garments. For ordinary people, we put ornaments so that we look beautiful. But for Krishna, the ornaments look beautiful when they are put on Krishna. So that is the difference. So Mother Yashoda decorated baby Krishna, and the ceremony began, and Jiva Goswami explains that this went on for 1.5 praharas, which is approximately 4.5 hours of chanting. And obviously during that time the baby felt sleepy, because babies want to sleep all the time, baby Krishna. So Mother Yashoda saw that Krishna is feeling sleepy, so immediately she took him into that cradle that they had created. And there's a description of how that cradle had different colored ribbons on top, so that baby Krishna can feel amused looking at them, touch it, and start smiling, giggling, looking at those. And she actually put him, and there was a huge cart. It was like, the description is like almost the size of a room. And underneath that, Mother Yashoda put that cradle, and they continued the process, taking care of the guests and what we heard. And while this was happening, of course, another demon, he came from the stable of Kamsa's demons. Shakatasur appeared. This happened in Gokul Mahavan. Of course, this is not because after 2.5 years, they moved to Vrindavan. This was in Mahavan, in Gokul. And when Shakatasur came, he thought, if I take a form, I'll get caught like Putana was. So he said, I am not going to take any form. I'll just slide into something that is already existing on the scene. That's where he actually entered the cart, Shakata. I mean the cart. And as soon as he entered, the cart became heavier, and the wheels sank in, and the axle cracked, and there was a sound. But because there were so many other sounds and so many other things, nobody noticed it. But Krishna obviously noticed it. And he understood that this is a demon, Shakatasur. and he immediately, with his soft little legs, he just gave a slight push. And Jiva Goswami explains, which is more details, that the cart actually flew like a bird in the sky and then came down crashing, collapsed, and all the vessels and all the wheels on it, they cracked. And Mother Yashoda had actually asked a lot of young kids, 5-6-year-old kids, to be around the cart when baby Krishna is sleeping. And when this happened, everybody rushed to the place. And they saw this happening, and that's where we heard how they asked, what happened? What happened? And then many of the boys, the young boys, they were not even able to speak. They were very young, small, tiny totes. So they all pointed towards one boy who could speak. So they pointed towards him, please tell what happened. He stammered and said that actually he was like stuttering, as the word is in the Gopal Champada. He stuttered and said, actually the baby actually just put his leg and it just flew. And they were like, they did not, and then the description is he actually made showing how he flew like a bird. And then all the kids also started imitating the same action of how the cart flew like a bird. And of course the Brajavasis, they did not realize, because by the Yogamaya potency of the Lord, they don't even consider Krishna as the Supreme Person. And we can see that how much Mother Yashoda has to go through as emotions, like when she saw Krishna jumping in the lake trying to secure the ball from Kaliya, she felt he's going to die and she felt unconscious. For us it's a pastime, but for Mother Yashoda, she actually has to go through these anxieties and for the pleasure of the Lord, because this is bhava. There is a bhava bhakti involved in that. So like that, in different pastimes, there are so many pastimes involving Mother Yashoda and Krishna, which of course they don't appear in Bhagavatam, but there are so many different padas, they call it padas, means the poetry is written by very intimate associates of the Lord, especially in the Pushti Marga, in the Vallabha Sampradaya, or the Pushti Margis, coming from Rudra Sampradaya actually. There were Ashta Sakhas, these were as recent as Kali Yuga. These different Kumbandas, Govindas, Suradas. He was blind from his birth. And he has written so many intimate pastimes of the Lord with all his Brajavasis. So one time, Mother Yashoda, she would always speak bedtime stories to Krishna. And I'll probably skip that because we spoke a little bit about it. But she would speak bedtime stories to Krishna, and in the morning she would always try to wake him up in the best possible ways, like baby Krishna. Of course, with time Krishna grew up, he started to speak, he became 2 years, eventually 3 years. And as he started growing, his naughtiness continued to increase. He became more and more naughty. And Krishna, when Mother Yashoda would wake him up, she would always first, because so that Krishna doesn't feel her cold hands, she would first rub her hands, make it warm, and then she would, try to get Krishna out of the blanket, trying to get him out. And she would say, Krishna, wake up. It's time for you to go and, play with your friends. And Krishna would not wake up, and he would say, I want to sleep more. And Mother Yashoda will make some excuse or give him some. He said, Krishna, if you wake up today, I'll give you some new gift. And immediately Krishna will open his one eye and say, what gift are you going to give me today? And Mother Yashoda will say, today I am going to give you a new flute. And immediately Krishna will jump up on the bed and he will say, where is the flute? Tell me, show me where is the flute. And Mother Yashoda will give him the same flute and say, take this. And he will say, no, this is not a new flute. You have to give me a new flute. You promised me a new flute. And then Mother Yashoda will just pick him and take him for a bath and give him a bath. And she inculcated that discipline in baby Krishna, that every day when he wakes up, he has to first go and take blessings of the cows, which the cowshed was right next. If you go to Vrindavan, you will see now it is at the bottom of the Nanda Bhavan, but it was like very close. And little Krishna would wake up and just go and just take darshan. He would offer his obeisances to the cows. And one day when he did that, he came back running to Mother Yashoda and he started crying. And he said, Mother Yashoda, Maya, he would say Maya, and Mother Yashoda would call him Kanhaiya, right? So he said, Maya, I think there is a lot of injustice that has been done to me. And he started crying, and Mother Yashoda said, what happened? He said, I just went to the cow shed and I saw that one of our cows had given birth to a new calf. Just 2 days ago, the calf was born, and when I looked into its mouth, it had all the teeth. But my teeth, even after 3 years, I have only 4 teeth. How is it possible? So Mother Yashoda started laughing. Then he said, I think because when I was in your womb, you didn't have good nutrition. That's why I don't have good teeth. So Mother Yashoda started laughing even more. She said, you know what? That's because you only eat soft butter. You don't drink milk. You don't have curd. When you eat soft butter, it's so slimy that whatever teeth comes, they go into your stomach. So you should drink milk. See how your Dao Dada is drinking so much milk daily. You should drink milk. Then you will get your teeth, and even your choti will also grow. He would also complain to Mother Yashoda that, why is it that Dao Dada's hair are long? My choti is so small. So then when Mother Yashoda said, you drink milk, next day onwards he started drinking a lot of milk. And what he would do, he would take a pot of milk, and while he's drinking, he would hold his choti and see if it is growing. And when it is not growing, he's telling Mother, you are cheating again, it's not growing, my choti is not growing. So like that he would perform amazing pastimes with Mother Yashoda. One time Mother Yashoda asked, one gopi came to Braj, to Nanda Bhavan, and said that I have a lot of ceremonies that are going to happen today, and I need cow dung. So obviously in the Vedic ceremonies you need cow dung for all the things. So she said, can I take some cow dung? You have the most number of cows in Vraja. Can I take cow dung? She said, well, no problem. You don't even have to ask. Why do you have to ask? Go and take as much cow dung as you want. So that gopi went to the cow shed adjacent to Nanda Bhavan. And obviously 3-year-old Krishna shows up there. And he stands and he says, you cannot take this cow dung just like that. You have to give me something in return. What will you give me in return? So she said, I just asked Nandarani. She said, I can take it. Why are you objecting? He said, she may have said yes, but I am the one who gives fodder to the cows daily. So I have a say in this. I will not allow you to take the cow dung unless you give me something in return. So the gopi says, what do you want? He says, for every basket of cow dung you take, I want a pot of butter. She says, okay, I will give it to you. Then she says, you count and then I will give it to you. And Krishna says, I cannot count. I'm still a baby. Then he says, do one thing. Every time you take a basket or a bucket of cow dung, with that same cow dung, put a dot on my face. And every time you take it, keep putting that, so that when I are done, I will go to Mother Yashoda and ask her to count. And then I'll come back and ask for that much butter from you. The gopi starts laughing there. Okay, fine. So she actually starts doing it. Every time she takes a basket and goes and takes it, before leaving she'll put a dot. And Krishna is like being like gopi dots, the cow dung is on his face, the baby Krishna's counter. That is the amount of pleasure he's giving, his beautiful form. And sometimes when she would go away, Krishna would just see she's not there, he'll put extra on his face so that he'll get more butter, As a mischievous child, he will put more so that he will get more. And when she would come back, she would say, I just put 6 now. How there are 8 dots suddenly on his face? And then she realized. So when she was taking the final thing out, she said, Krishna, you are cheating. And she took the whole thing and dumped the whole cow dung on Krishna. And Krishna was full in cow dung. And he ran to his mother crying that, Mother Yashoda, this is what she did. Please, Mother Yashoda would say, every day I wash you and bathe you and make you so beautiful, and you have to invariably go in cow dung and get yourself, spoiled. And then he's telling, please don't wash, just wash from the side. Don't wash the dots. I want to count the dots. So that is how Krishna is inundating the. And then one more I'll share. As Krishna grew, when he was 3.5 years old, he became the epitome of naughtiness. And he had his friends, the Gopa friends, the Subala, Sridama, Sudama, Vasudama, not the others that these were the Sudama Gopa also. Sudama, Vasudama, Sridama, Subala, Stoka Krishna, Arjuna Gopa, Madhumangala. So all his team, his Choramandal, the thief family was there. And he started playing different acts with them. So when he was 3.5 years, he said, let us all perform yajna. I have seen Nanda Baba doing yajna, and he performs Agnihotra every day so that he can please Surya Dev and then get some benefits. So he calls everybody and says, today we will do yajna ourselves. And they all say, but what do we do it for? He said, we should perform yajna and pray to Surya Dev that all of us get beautiful wives. So 3.5-year-old Krishna is telling his coward friends that we should all get beautiful wives. So that's why we should do it. And he says that let's take dry leaves from the backyard, start burning them, there will be fire, and then also take dry leaves and crush it, and all of you keep something in your hand. And I will chant the mantras, and when I say swaha, you all have to put into the fire. And if you miss it when I say swaha, you will get a wife who is either squint or short or some disabled. Like that he's telling that if you miss it, you will lose it. So you have to. So he's doing Om Swaha, and then all of them are saying Swaha. And like that they are doing. And then after the yajna is done, Sridama says, but Kana, after doing this, we should do Brahman Bhoj. There should be Brahmins who should be fed. He said, yes, that is true. We should do that. So they all run out from the house, and whoever they see Brahmins, they see anybody, they say, you know what? Today there was a great yajna at the house of Nanda Maharaj. Please come, there is a great feast in the evening at our house. And like that he went and called like hundreds. And then he went to play. And in the evening, by the time it was evening, Mother Yashoda saw hundreds of people coming in front of her house. And she said, what happened? Well, all of you, why are you here? They said, thank you very much, Mother Yashoda. You called us for a big feast. So we are all ready. And all the Brahmins, because they were feeling that it is an invitation from the house of King Nanda, they all were fasting that day so they can enjoy the feast. They even told their wives that don't make anything. We are carrying dabbas. We will fill it and bring it back to you. So holiday for you, kitchen holiday. We are all going to enjoy feast. And all of them show up at Mother Yashoda's Nanda house. And she said, what is happening? And they said, your son came and told us that today there is a big feast. So now we are all waiting. And Mother Yashoda is like, what is this? Let Krishna come. I'll show him why is he doing this. She had to actually end up cooking for so many people and serving them a big feast. And then finally Krishna showed up. And she was like, Kana, why are you doing this to me? You know how much effort it took for me to do this? So Krishna is saying, Maya, actually there are two things. One is, I care for you. Because if you serve all these Brahmanas, you will get a lot of benefits. So I'm just trying to be good to you, that you will accrue piety. And the second thing I want to share, and he says, but before I tell you, please promise you will not hit me. She says, okay, I will not hit you. She says, I am doing this because I am seeing that you are becoming little stout and fat. If you keep doing this, you will become thin again. So I am doing it for you so that you can keep doing this like a daily chore. So that is how he is continuously performing amazing pastimes in Braja, which inundates the hearts of the Brajavasis. And these are the pastimes, these are the bhava with which we really assess. Like these are the meters with which we can assess how much we are getting closer, how much our hearts are getting softened through the chanting of the holy name. And to the extent our hearts are softened, to that extent it opens up, that emotions start flowing into our hearts. And we eternally, this is our desire, obviously, and this is our prayer to all our acharyas, that through their mercy and through because our sadhana has no power. We all must admit we don't have that much strength, because Kali Yuga is so powerful. It is becoming more and more powerful. Everything we hear is so depressing, news-wise, situation-wise. Everything is becoming more and more facilitative to be away from Krishna. To be able to hold our fort, not slip away by the actions of Maya, and instead go in the opposite direction, closer and closer, and soften our hearts to make it more and more, melt our hearts so much that Krishna finds, and Krishna is more interested to come and steal our hearts rather than we are interested. That is the level that we should all aspire for, and through these simple, through these efforts of speaking and hearing the pastimes of the Lord, we should pray that we should also get eternal access to the unlimited pastimes. These are just something that we know, but Krishna being unlimited, his pastimes are unlimited, his sweetness is unlimited. And let us pray that all of us relish these nectars more and more. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody has any thoughts or anything to share, add to the... Today's was more of...
Check. Okay. So there's a fantastic lecture by Prabhupada on YouTube. It's called Transcending Pleasure and Pain. It's one of the best talks I've heard from him. It's very potent. And one of the things he talks about is this love for baby Krishna. And he says, when you find the sock of your infant child, you love it. You don't love the sock, but you think of your baby when you see that sock. And in the same way, we're in this material world. We are constantly surrounded by such challenging things. And to have eyes for Krishna through all of it, we can see, maybe this is not the true potency of Krishna, but it reminds me of Krishna. Every person, every experience, every moment is like that sock. So that's what I thought of. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, bro, for sharing. I'll definitely check out that particular video. Surely, that's the whole, like Prabhupada would say, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. The Krishna consciousness, he termed the process as conscious, so that in our consciousness, everything our senses and mind processes, if our consciousness can eventually give it a flavor and a connection to the Lord, then our life is successful. Then we are ready. We don't know when the time will come when we have to exit the body. But through practice, if we have reached that point where any small thing just like this, I think Raghunath Das Goswami, if I'm not mistaken, just he saw the fanning of somebody, the king was being fanned with a fan of peacock feather. And seeing the peacock feather, he remembered Krishna and he fainted. That is the level. We are not at that level. We are still at sadhana bhakti. We have not reached, we have not crossed the biggest hurdle of anartha nivritti. But hopefully, with time.
Thank you, Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for such a nice class, and especially the pastimes that you shared. It's like we didn't want you to stop. We wanted to hear more of baby Krishna's pastimes. But I was just thinking, it's so wonderful that it's not just Mother Yashoda or all the gopis who are relishing it like at that time, but we hear it now. We are not at the bhav stage or no stage, but it's still like Krishna's mercy is so much there through Srila Prabhupada that we are able to hear these pastimes and some, glimpse of rasa, some taste, at least at whatever level it's there, but we are able to enjoy it so much. And then, like Karan Prabhu said, that you remember, you see a sock and you remember the child, the udipan, right? We say it accentuates you, brings you, gives you all the bhav at that time, and you remember Krishna. So it was a wonderful class. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing, Mataji. Very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a nice class. And I hope someone speaks after me, because we all want to leave with these sweet impressions of pastime, because I'm going to ask you the opposite. In text 1 and 2, Prabhupada, actually the translation is saying, thus one's attachment for hearing about material things, which is the root cause of material existence, vanishes, and one gradually develops devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So the opposite, it was that we have taste for hearing material things, and it's starting from hearing. And I can speak for myself, like every conspiracy theory or everything. How many times are we hearing? And still we're like shocked. Oh my gosh, this happened. And there's still this like taste for hearing what is going wrong in the world. And what here they're saying is that we will come to a point where we don't even, this is normal, this is let us just hear. And I was thinking about that time when Prabhupada, bombs were falling and he was like, no, I'm focused on my kachori, like this is Krishna Prasad. So much, like even bombs are falling, he's so oblivious to us. And for us, we're like actually, well situated, but we want to hear what's going wrong in the world, where is the trouble happening. And so for me, I'm like, the exact opposite, a little bit of Krishna and more of so much.
Mataji, you are, it's like we say, Krishna consciousness, when a sign of advancement in bhakti is how much fearless you are. To the extent you are fearless about things, to that extent you have faith, right? It's an inversely proportional. If you have faith, you have less fear. If you have more fear, which means you have less faith. So the thing is, why did I say this? There was something that crossed my mind. Okay, so your point was about the fact that, now I got it. It is good to have that fear. Like you are very, very honestly trying to assess, and of course there's a lot of humility involved. We all know you are much better than that, Mataji, but overall, it's a good fear to have. Fear of death, fear of losing our enthusiasm to serve, enthusiasm to chant. These are the type of fears we should have. But you have to be fearless about other aspects of material life. Those are not the fears to keep, but these are the type of fears to keep. We should be afraid of offending a Vaishnava. We should be afraid of losing our taste for chanting, or losing our opportunity to serve, losing our opportunity to hear, losing our opportunity to chant, whatever. Health-wise, this-wise, that-wise. But the other type of fear is good. So when you say this, you are fearful of the fact that I'm still feeling I need to hear other things. And to some extent, because we are still connected to the material world, there is an element of our life which overlaps with social settings, even work-wise or otherwise. There will be, that will come in. We are not in a very vacuum-tight Krishna conscious compartment. If it would be so nice if we all could just go to Braj Dham or Govardhan or Barsana and have our own cottages and just chant, right? It would have been awesome. But it's not possible. So in that case, yes, it's good to have that fear. So keep that fear so that eventually it will drive you away from that more and more. The Krishna's attraction is far, far, far superior than the attraction of Maya. It's just that we are willingly facing towards Maya right now. All we need to do is willingly face this way and experience Krishna's magnetic power. Like somebody, we had, like when I was in my school, there was one boy, he was very naughty. What he would do is, there would be a recess time, we used to call it recess, I don't know what, like break time. And during the break, especially boys, they will all fight with each other. That is the nature of boys. They'll just keep punching each other for no reason. They'll do these things, hitting, pushing and all that. And when the next class is, when the teacher is about to come, sometimes some fights will go on until the teacher actually comes. And then that one boy who was naughty, he would be the one who would hit. But the moment the teacher enters, he would just change and say, "Oh, you hit me, you hit me so much." And he would pretend in front of the teacher that actually others were beating me. So it's like pretense, it's the pretense that we have, that we are saying that Krishna is not attracting me, whereas we are just holding on to the other things that are attracting us. We are not giving it up. When we give it up, automatically we'll see the mercy of Krishna. So that is my 2 cents, Mataji. Okay. I think, unless anybody has anything, you have something to say? Okay. Good. All good. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.